Hey everyone. So it's 6 o'clock as I promised. I'm actually doing this before going to help my parents this time, instead of 11 o'clock at night. But I wanted to talk to you about something, about satisfaction. Now, see, this today, at the preschool where I work, it is Rockstar Day. So I, of course, had the Rolling Stones on my mind, as anybody would, or Rolling Stones, or any of the greats. But it occurred to me that this song, I Can't Get No Satisfaction, I think it's just called Satisfaction, is actually kind of right on. It might be the reason that they're so successful. I think there's a big difference between satisfaction and happiness. So I think people confuse the two things. You can be happy with what you have without being satisfied with what you have. So being happy and being grateful for what you have is wonderful. But striving for more, that's when you see the difference between satisfied and happy. So it's like this. I grew up in a two-family home, which was great, and it was a great house, and it was wonderful, and a great family, and I loved them all. But it left me wanting to have a full house of my own. I don't have that yet, but I will. It's in the works. And so and I'm happy where I live now. I was happy as a kid living where I lived and happy having the things that I had, but I'm always striving for that next step. I'm happy having lost 150 pounds, not lost it, dropped it, released it, dumped it, gotten rid of it. But I'm not satisfied. I'm going to keep on going forward. I'm happy with who I am, with the way my body is, the way my mind works. But I always want to get better. And I feel like if you don't have that drive, you're going to stay stagnant. You're going to stay right in that same spot. It's my feeling that dissatisfaction is what led to all the wonderful inventions that we have. Somebody at some point was dissatisfied with living in a cave and built a hut or a house or something. Somebody at some point was dissatisfied with walking around being cold in the wintertime, so started making clothes. Somebody was dissatisfied with the fact that there were no roadways, no pathways, so they started making pathways. Edison was dissatisfied with the fact that he had to use a lamp or, an oil lamp or a torch or a wood candle, and started with the idea of having a light bulb. And 3,000 or more times later, I forget what the number is. I used to know. I'll have to think about it. But I know that it was in the thousands. 3,000 or 4,000, however many thousand tries later, and he had the light bulb. So it's that sort of drive that leads you forward. Ford was dissatisfied with the way that cars were made. He didn't make the first car, but he did make the first assembly line because he was dissatisfied. Dissatisfaction is what leads to us being creative. It leads to us pushing forward and really going for what we want. So are you satisfied? Are you happy? Or are you dissatisfied? And you can be dissatisfied and still be happy. Jen, I see you said, I need your positivity. The positivity is a choice. It is an absolute choice. You can choose your state of mind. So, and that's a part of it too. You can make the choice to be happy but dissatisfied, to be happy but pushing forward. There's nothing wrong at all with wanting more than what you have. There isn't. There are different ways to get what you want, and you have to know how to get what you want, and that's a totally different thing. But it starts with your thoughts. It starts with that dissatisfaction and knowing what it is that you want, knowing where you're going. That's really where it starts. So, I'm reading the comments as I go, and I see that Annette said, that's a great point, Holly. You can be dissatisfied and still be happy. They're not the same thing. It's true. It's absolutely true. So, Jen, I see your comment too about being dissatisfied and being suffering. Let's talk. You and me, let's talk. I might be able to help you. I've had some issues with that myself. This is a new turn for me, this way of thinking. But it's all about where you start, knowing where you are, knowing where you want to be, and thinking about it and thinking your way through it and thinking about how you can get there and actually doing it. But you can be happy along the way. You can, listen to some good tunes and lift your spirit, or do something that makes you happy and go forward from there. So, on that note, I'm about to go make my parents happy, and I am going to turn on my car and get going over to their house because they are waiting for me to help them with some things. So, have a great night, and I wish you all well. Wish me well as I go and move some more boxes. Bye, everyone.